Where are we going? That's the question.
We're not going there.
Are we going?
And are we there yet?
Oh, look, we're live.
Yeah.
Hello, fellow garbage. If you would like to, well, keep the garbage man running, donate here.
Yeah.
That's not a political campaign. What do you call it? Yeah,
Remember,
we're not
it
collecting
is garbage
money.
can, not garbage cannot.
Cannot. Not even a contraction.
Only for those that learn English as a second language.
If you like coffee and rails, we don't know stinking rails.
Fueled by King Harps. I mean, we're our own advertisement.
So,
We cannot remain uncaffeinated.
I was going to say advertisement for what? What not to do?
Yeah, so we've got a blanket fort full today.
Yeah.
If you like Smart Aleck t-shirts, I'm pretty sure Garbage Cannot will be on there sooner or later. tinyurl.com Among the Leaves Tees. Friend of ours, when you order a t-shirt, let them know you heard about it from us.
you know, it's still enough people could actually read the damn thing.
They can hit pause.
So he holds it at an angle.
They'll get over it. Yeah, we have a shop. The blanket fort is full today. Full
It's
Full of
of
what?
Full of so much on it.
You
Full
know.
of beans.
Rita's here, Editor Lisa's here, Cedar's here, Mike's here, John is here. Somebody that John was fitting something to was here.
She's from next door, Julie's door. So,
She ran away.
Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah.
Probably the smartest one in here.
Yes.
Jocelyn said her husband's being a shit, so parking his parking spot.
She's making him walk to work.
So I'm wondering now if the mean time to break Ian, as referenced in the chat earlier,
Yeah.
has been disrupted because we broke him even before we properly
It's
started.
not. I'm sitting right in front of him and he's drinking right now.
Yeah. I'm wondering if he poured anything in that before he took a drink.
Is there any there's plenty of lubricant back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have an entire bar back there. I can fix this stuff. This soda.
Oh, hey, Mikado, good to see you. Hopefully the recovery is going well.
RK announcement. We have two ginger kittens, Jim, the gymnast, and Ian. That's what he answered to.
You're saying it enough times, you're bound to.
Rodney, I have a couple of files that will be coming to you shortly.
Actually, Rita does have a Halloween dress.
She's very quiet back
She
there.
Rita's being very quiet today, which makes me worried. Makes me nervous.
What a methylamine song. Way too long.
A Halloween dress.
Oh,
It's a
Yeah.
trap.
yeah, this whole place is a trap today in more ways than one. And it is Halloween.
It is.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't normally get your free cone, feel free today. For the rest of it's Thursday.
Actually, yes. This is my favorite time of the year.
Yeah, and we have 6 more days to put up with the bullshit.
Oh God.
Well,
And then riot season.
yeah, and then
begins.
it'll be
Yeah.
the season of rioting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those that have not procured enough of the brass and lead compounds might want to think about that.
I'm good. So
Yeah.
So
I mean-
we're going to be cheerful today because we have what John said. I live in Texas. So
Yeah, it's
Well, they don't come out in the urban areas. They
rural areas.
here be hillbillies.
yeah,
Damn, Skippy. Here be rednecks.
yeah. The it's kind of interesting. Speaking of hillbillies, the idiots in North Carolina from FEMA that said it would be 6 months to a year to get a road into
Bat cave.
Bat Cave and the other one Mountain.
Yeah.
Mountain Creek.
Mountain
I'm trying
Creek
to
or something.
remember. I've seen a couple of
Yeah.
awesome videos.
Yeah, the bunch of redneck miners from West Virginia came down, put a road in 2 days.
They're like, yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Brought their own equipment, brought their own backhoes, brought their own
well,
dozers.
they didn't have to do the environmental impact study and the environmental
Yeah.
stuff, or get the approval from.
They
Well, like yeah, and they didn't have to grease the correct palms.
Yeah.
I
They
mean,
just
let's be
did it.
honest.
As Richard says, here, hold my beer.
yeah.
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 It was going to take that long to figure out who gets paid.
Is the draft.
gets
Oh,
the
they
money.
were
Yeah.
working it from both sides. One guy's dumping stuff down the hill, the other guy's sitting there flattening it out.
Nice.
Well, one of the things we mentioned a year or so ago,
That's
I'm seeing things. Year or so ago, was there was a big fire out west of here, and we were at the local barbecue joint, and a couple of cops came in with their handy talkies on, and we heard a dispatcher say the fire X at this location. 3 fire department units, multiple sheriff's office units, and private citizens with bulldozers responding.
I'm sorry
Oh.
to say, in the immortal words of Hank Williams Jr., a country boy can survive.
Oh yeah,
Yep,
Mhm.
and a country lady too.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
and I just got that from Alma.
What is that?
The Reformation. 95 Reese's nailed to the door for Reformation Day.
99 Reese's.
Oh,
Oh gosh, that is great.
And now suddenly I understand why somebody shared a picture of the 95 pieces in my Discord earlier, and I was like, that's different, and just kind of went on.
That's a little bit funny.
yeah, Richard, it was a field expedient road, but it works. There has not been anything that was not field expedient done up there other than the electrical workers, because they can't really do field expedient.
Yeah.
So they were,
Oh, you can.
well, yeah,
It's just not wise.
but they were coming right behind the guys, putting in poles, putting in wire,
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah.
And the interesting part is Greg brings up, FEMA has yet to reimburse any of the power companies for any of the work done.
This
What a
is
surprise.
I was hearing about that.
Yeah.
So
No, from my view, I'm afraid they didn't pay.
well, okay. It's FEMA.
Yeah.
It's a federal bureaucracy. If you're expected to get paid in less than 90 days, I got news for you.
Well, under Trump, they were getting paid 30. They were
Well,
doing net 30.
that was under Trump. It's a federal bureaucracy. If you ain't paid under 90 days, and quite honestly, it's federal bureaucracy. If you get paid 186 months, that's probably pretty
You
standard,
expecting to get paid before the local congressman? Stop
Yeah.
it.
right?
Yeah.
well, I mean, even state, when I was running a business where we did performances and stuff, we worked for one state agency, and we knew not to expect to get money out of them until like 6 months.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
we actually flat refused to work for any. We really, really liked this one place.
Yeah.
Kristen McAuliffe Planetarium, but we wouldn't work for any other because that's not how we ran our business.
Yeah.
So we couldn't afford to be out that much money for that long until they could get their act together.
Differs. You should know by now what your hubby drinks. She says, I failed as a wife, sent Kermit out to get booze, and he's texted me 20 questions to figure out what kind to get. Really?
No, I am not going to say anything.
Does it have alcohol? Yes. Good enough.
They should come back with a. Do they still make those big cans of Hawaiian Punch?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's a great question.
Probably.
Do anybody remember those big cans of Hawaiian Punch?
Yeah, the number 10s. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
I'm here
yeah.
to tell you, you can have a lot of fun with a big can of Hawaiian Punch and some high test vodka that's been in the freezer for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike's over here nodding.
I used to live in that barracks.
Differ says, I know what he drinks. I wanted vodka and rum. Hopefully you got the good stuff, or made him get the good stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, Bermuda Gold is probably some of the best rum out there. Look for the smoke in the trees.
So what you do is you stick the vodka in the freezer, or allegedly. You stick the vodka in the freezer because it will get down below the freezing point of water, but not alcohol.
Yep.
And then you fill up a tumbler of Hawaiian Punch and pour in the alcohol and give it a quick stir.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Instant slushy.
Yeah.
I was told when I was a young woman living in Alaska that the
Hey, Mike.
the 49ers, the Gold Rush guys, would carry their flask of alcohol inside the coat with them because if they let
Yes.
it get down to below zero and then took a drink, it would stop their heart.
Eh,
I don't know.
well, you know, that was the advantage of the community I was in, is that we could do training flights and go get stuff. So, you know, it'd be the nav extended down to Puerto Rico for rum, various other things. We'd do a nav.
Well,
Sparks over here shaking his head.
I'm shaking my head because that's in total contrast to my 21st century experience of going back and forth to Iraq. And you know, you end up in Frankfurt, right, on your way back or whatever. First order, can we buy absinthe? No, you can't.
We were smart enough not to get absinthe, but we ran our own bars in the barracks,
Right.
and so we'd go to Amsterdam, send guys to Amsterdam for a beer run. We'd send guys to Italy for amaretto, and various and sundry other things, and limoncello. We stayed away from the grappa. We'd send them down to Spain for wine and port, and you know, then we'd send them to Maine for lobster. So we had a pretty good setup.
No. Well, and you guys were smart. I'm talking a bunch of dumb grunts. You know, who these kids, like, we would get ready to the weekend before we deploy, right? I'd be like, Marines, alcohol's like Doritos.
Yeah.
We're gonna make more. We're not gonna run out while we're gone. You don't need to try and drink it all this weekend.
Yeah.
And then you hear we're heading back to see. I need to work on my tolerance. Shut up.
Yeah, Greg, duty-free shops at Heathrow are not bad, but they overcharge the hell out of her scotch.
I don't know.
Get to Scotland, you can get realistic pricing.
I don't know about these days, but in the bad old days, 80s, early 90s, if you had contact, if you wound up by accident in certain nations, republics, you had to go talk to the State Department. You had to fill out a report with the State Department. I know this because I discovered Czechoslovakian absinthe in a place that wasn't Czechoslovakia. And then when I woke up, after I got back to the barracks, I had to go to the embassy and fill out a State Department form.
Yes, Richard, the 57th Fizz did come into our bar on occasion, and they usually left drunk or got carried out. And it got to the point that the CO of the 57th Fizz would not allow them to come to the Navy bar.
What's
Yep.
I can tell you from experience that the best party in any major city in the world
Yes, Mike, the world of whiskey. Yes.
is going to
Remember
be
it
at
well.
the Marine House.
Oh, yeah.
Just go to your nearest American embassy, talk to the Marine on post 1. Every embassy has a post 1.
Yeah.
And say, hey, when's the next party? Because that's how they make money for the ball.
Yeah.
And the best party in town is at the Marine House.
He's not lying, but the hangovers.
Yeah.
Oh,
The hangovers are epic. The nice thing with the Brits, though, when they were supporting us down in Nasira, was they brought in comfort rations in C-130s. Funny amber-colored liquid with Listerine on the bottle.
it was on here when I was reminiscing. I was reminiscing about beer cans fitting in folding fin stabilized rocket pods.
Yeah.
And someone out here putting out how many beer cans you could fit.
Actually, you could fit a case.
It was Shard,
Yeah.
James Shard.
Jim Sharp, probably.
Okay,
Yeah.
Shard.
That seems about right.
Yeah, he knew exactly how many cans of beer you could put into a rocket pod on it. Allegedly put a rocket pod on a 64.
Yeah,
Apache.
Rick. They said you couldn't go into Macau, but there were a hell of a lot of people that took that ferry over from Kowloon. Oh yeah, the Navex store in Lisbon. Okay.
Oh, Jason, know how many will fit? Just knows it was done.
Yeah,
My bad.
I know you can fit at least a dozen.
That would to come up with
Now
the
that was
knowledge.
in a flare pod.
Come up, yeah, to come up with the exact number would imply that I had knowledge of something that's forbidden under UCMJ. Mike shaking his head.
I'm glad I wasn't your first sergeant.
Surprised it's taking you
I've
long.
read
That's
too
this
many
long.
blotter reports.
One of these days,
Well, it's bad when you got right one on your own crew.
Yeah, God.
one of these days, Wayne Wisdon's father-in-law used to be the
Yes,
battalion
Rick.
XO, of the XO of the battalion that I was in, and he has stories. And these bunch of reprobates accused me of inflating
I
some
never
of the
have.
story. And the colonel gave the impression that I was not only not exaggerating, I might have been woefully underplaying.
And this was found out at the wedding, if I remember correctly.
Oh. Forbid by UCMJ. Yes, they're all. No, it's, and he started telling stories that I didn't. It's like, I didn't know the colonel knew about that. Shit.
Yes, Padre, there are a lot of things that are forbidden by UCMJ. However, comma.
That never stopped us.
It's like,
UCMJ is more like a guidelines than actual,
Yeah.
rules.
Oh, pirate math coming into play.
oh,
More like,
or like one that I heard a couple of days ago. One of the guys in one of the Navy chats has posted the link to one of Bacon's cartoons about the founding of the Marine Corps. We have our official documentation now. Sir, we've got our first Liberty incident on day 2.
On day 2, yeah. They were in a bar the whole time, though.
Yeah,
that's apropos, actually.
you're only forbidden if you get caught. Yep.
No, yeah.
Never officially know anything. Oh, poor Colonel Kennedy. These days, I kind of feel sorry for him because he was the one. When they punted me off to Aberdeen I went off to Aberdeen because of fucking Singar system. Kids, ask your parents.
Shit never worked.
So I was there with my guys learning about Singars. And apparently the provost marshal at Aberdeen had Colonel Kennedy on speed dial.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Singar is the Army's attempt to actually communicate with other people.
Singars. Singars was terrible.
I've never
Still-
seen the UCMJ used to give grace.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't either.
No, not at all.
Yes, XOs do catch all the shit because they are the duty asshole on the crew.
Yep.
Well, then Major Kennedy was the filter for it got to Colonel Avila. And Colonel Avila had been he'd been a grunt, and he expected his cavalry troops to be cavalry.
Act accordingly. Yes.
Yeah.
To be cavalry. But there were some times that, Staff Sergeant McMurtry was getting ready to shoot a colonel.
Jeff, the average rank for a 35-year Army vet would either be Sergeant Major E9 or
35?
probably a bull colonel.
35, yeah. He'd be 35 be a full bird or an E9, depending
Yeah,
on
you got to
My,
be
my
full bird.
grandfather was 27 years and
Yeah.
was an E9.
Unless he's got unless he's a Mustang.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he'd
Even-
still,
then he'd
he'd
be
still
a
make
lieutenant colonel.
he'd
Yeah.
still make colonel.
well,
He
there's,
might be a one-star
they're still
general.
up. They're
Yeah.
still up
Yeah.
and out. They're
Yeah.
still up and out. And of course, unless he got caught with the wrong ribbons on his fruit
Well, yeah,
salad.
and then he would be an E5.
Yeah.
Right. Jackass.
Oh, Ben, good point. Warrant 5.
Warrant
yeah.
5. Yeah, and we've never seen him.
Yeah.
The ghost.
We know he wanted a warrant 5 because you've talked to him.
Yeah. So he was a liar.
I don't know. The one Warrant 5 that I knew was an Army Warrant 5, former 160th SOAR guy, pilot,
Yeah.
retired, and they brought him back on active duty. And he was the liaison at 3rd Fleet for getting 160th SOAR qualified on small boys, to land on small boys.
That would be what a warrant officer would do
Yeah.
because
And the 3-star tiptoed around him.
it's a warrant 5.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What are you going to do to him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally answers to no one.
Well, we went to lunch one day and he said, yeah, he says, I'm fucking retired. He said, what are they going to do? You know, he said, there's literally nobody can do anything to me.
They can't affect his promotion.
No.
Right.
And he was drawing full retirement,
Mhm.
and every year on active duty just added to that retirement.
Right.
And he said, plus, he says, I get to fuck with the guys that I used to train.
I remember.
He would schedule the destroyers to come into the inlet there by 3rd Fleet.
Mm.
And he mysteriously, for some reason, had an office with a window that looked out over the bay.
Imagine that.
So he would purposely schedule the sequels on the destroyer that was sitting in the bay so he could watch the guys come in. And he would sit up there and laugh and then be on the phone with their bosses. Yeah, so I mean, he was an interesting individual to deal with.
I remember a brand new butter bar telling at the time we had warrant start at CW4
Yeah.
when I was there. CW5 was later on. Remember and CW4s were the CW5 of their time.
Yeah.
Remember a brand new butter bar telling warrant officer 4 that technically warrant officer, you're supposed to salute me. And I
No,
looked around. I was the only enlisted left in the shop.
Because you move too slow.
It's too damn slow.
That's literally dumber than saying that to your sergeant major. Like, we expect you to make that mistake with your senior enlisted guy. You should have known better.
well, that's about as bad as
Technically, you have to salute me.
the story that Rob Hanson's mother's friend told us down at San Antonio last year. We're sitting at the house having a cocktail, and he's a former Army Warrant 4 flight instructor. Oh, by the way, all the Army warrants that are now teaching the Air Force how to fly helicopters, they have no Air Force instructors. They're all ex-Army warrants.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Air Force still flies choppers.
Yeah, but all the training is done by
Oh.
Army warrants
Oh.
because they're more proficient. And he was apparently stationed with Calvados at Rucker.
Oh.
And they had been at an inspection. And of course, as soon as the inspection was over, Calvados took his medal off, put it in his pocket.
Yeah.
And he was a W4 at the time. Said they're walking back to the instructor shack, and this female second lieutenant
Run.
walks by
Just run.
and doesn't get saluted.
I can see how this story ends, but please continue.
So she turns around and starts gnawing on both of them.
On a Medal of Honor winner.
Well, it's a.
He had it in his pocket, so she didn't know what he had, who
No,
he was.
you should know there are not enough Medal of Honor winners that you can't keep.
Yeah,
them all
you
in
didn't
your
know who this guy was.
Yeah.
You and I both know that.
head. Okay.
Right.
And he said, they both stood there and took it. He's like, okay, fine, whatever. Yeah, fine. I'm going to write you up. Fine.
Oh, please.
And that was the sum total of the discussion. Please go ahead. And she did not recognize his name. Took both their names, wrote them up. So they go back to the instructor's hut. And I don't remember. Jeff said he called the colonel, or Calvados called the colonel and said, "Hey, you got a good one coming to you."
Brace yourself, boss.
He says the next day they get called in, and they've been flying, so they're in their bags,
Mhm.
and they come in, and it's like, the colonel's sitting there going, "How do you want to handle this?"
Oh, however you want to,
Yeah.
Colonel.
And he said, Calvados looked at him and went, "Yeah, whatever you feel like." Said, "I don't care."
Yeah.
Like he's gonna give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, like talk about a guy who knows what he's all about. He's
Yeah.
nothing left to prove.
Yeah.
No,
Right? I
and
don't care what
What,
happens.
what are you gonna do to the guy wearing a Medal of Honor? What,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Mhm.
So they leave, and 2 days later, this little girl comes over to the instructor pod, finds them, and is apologizing in tears. And said they happened to run into the colonel a couple of days later. Says, "Sir, I understand, she came over and apologized, so we're all good. But the hell did you do to her?" Apparently, the colonel lectured her and made her go do her homework.
Yes, I was gonna say he made you read your goddamn award,
yeah,
is
the
what he
citation.
did. Yeah.
Here, read the citation. You
Yeah.
just chewed him out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you
Now
screamed
what?
at him.
Now what? There was every base
But-
I've been on.
The funny part was when he retired as a bull colonel
Mm. Wow.
because he had been a B-29 pilot in World War II in the Army Air Corps. So he retired at his highest held rank. And his funny part, he said the funnier part was he and his son were both in Vietnam at the same time flying choppers, which was kind of interesting.
Mm.
Every base I've been on, the main PX, the main whatever the Marine Corps calls it, like a PX,
PX? Yeah, post exchange.
has a parking place marked MOH only.
Mm.
And if somebody parks there, it goes from every ready room and HQ. I mean, bip 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 bip.
Yeah.
Every there's a MOH winner on base.
Yeah.
And God help you if you park there and you don't have one.
I saw one. Well, I've seen a few of them out in Hawaii because I happened to be out there the same week staying at the Holocaust that the Medal of Honor Association was. I kept wondering why I'm smoking a cigarette, looking at these guys going, these guys look awful familiar for some reason. And then the one guy shows up with a t-shirt, a shirt on, and went, "Oh!"
Somebody mentioned earlier a fruit salad.
Yeah.
We have Mike here.
No, what do you want?
We have retired Marine Corps Sergeant Major Michael Burke here. And we would like to ask his innocent opinion of the
I'm going to save the watch.
Turn down your speakers now.
We
So-
get to listen to the resonant tones.
Son of a bitch, you're gonna bring it up. Go ahead.
So, Mike, Sergeant Major, how do you feel about this E9? Oh no.
Should I get out of the spit range?
Oh no.
This
Ask your
started-
question.
This started when I got a message from Mike going, "Did you see this shit?" And I looked at it and went, "What the hell?"
Keep in mind, I don't normally follow military crap anymore. Not my monkeys. Did you hear the Marines are getting rid of snipers? They're
Yeah.
getting rid of tanks. I don't care. Not my concern.
Yeah. So
But
this was a Marine Sergeant Major,
yep.
E9.
E9, one each, who basically was stolen valor while active duty in the Marine Corps, wearing medals and ribbons
That he did not rate.
that he did not rate.
Including, and this is from memory, a Purple Heart
Yep.
on active duty, a combat action ribbon,
Seven
overseas
overseas deployment.
deployment ribbon with 7 stars.
Yep. jump wings.
Jump wings. That pissed Ian off.
Ah,
An overseas service ribbon, which just means you
Yeah.
were stationed overseas,
Yeah.
for those who don't know.
And a GWAT
Oh,
medal.
Yeah, GWAT medal, a Kosovo
Yeah.
campaign
Kosovo
medal.
campaign.
what blew our mind was the fact he'd been in how long, Mike?
Yeah, he'd been in since '96.
Yeah.
He'd been in since '96, and the GWAT medal was fake. He
Yeah.
had not earned it.
He hadn't. Well, that's what blows my mind. Okay,
He hadn't earned any of them.
he's
Yeah,
been on
no.
2 deployments in that entire time in his career. How?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
He went in 6 years before the Global War on Terror started in the Marine Corps. He been his entire career during the Global War on Terror and was never deployed.
And he got promoted to sergeant major. I
Yeah.
don't understand how that happened.
And he was wearing a Kosovo medal, which occurred before he ever joined
That
the
was
Marine Corps.
yeah. He came in at '96. How did you get the Kosovo? Like,
Yeah.
that happened.
Damn time.
Well, I
machine
guess
broke
Kosovo
down.
happened in '98.
No, Kosovo was back in the 80s and 90s, early
Yeah.
90s.
Either way,
Get Nick's in the chat.
I and then, like, if you're familiar with how the Marine Corps promotion boards happen for staff and COs, someone briefs your package,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm just going to assume that he's taking a picture with his correct ribbons on there.
Yeah.
But still, another Marine briefing, like, this guy has been on 2 deployments
Yeah.
in 20 years. Like,
Yeah.
that's what you would have to brief. So I don't get how he was promoted. And which brings us to the rabbi
Yeah, I got it,
question,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. And he was motor T.
Yeah.
The second go around of Kosovo was 95 to double nuts. You're right. I'm sorry, Padre. You're right.
So but,
I'm thinking the first go around because I was still on active duty
Global
then.
War on Terror started in 2002 officially. So
Yeah.
we
Mhm.
went into Afghanistan. He joins in '96, so he's got 6 years, and then the Global War on Terror kicks off.
Yep.
And he goes a full 20 years.
Yeah.
To the end of the Global War on Terror, because Global War on Terror was 20 years. He goes a full 20 years in the Marine Corps and never deploys
Right.
to GWAT.
Right. And it doesn't matter. Like, nobody gives a crap that you don't have a combat
Yeah.
action ribbon. Right. Like, because mine just means that my driver was a dumbass and drove our Humvee into a pothole, whereas where you put the expedient IEDs. That's why I have my first combat action as my dumbass driver. Not because I was hooking and jabbing. Don't
You
spit
need
on
to
me.
Stop drinking while he's talking.
Stop drinking during the one-liners. God dang it, Ian. So no one really cares about that. Like, when Marines look at your ribbon rack, the first thing I look at is your deployment ribbon.
Yeah.
Are you a guy that goes out and does Marine crap, which means
Yeah.
deploy?
Yeah, the interesting part, and that just shows how long I've been out because I retired in '92.
Yeah.
So I get Vietnam to the first go for. But the sad part is, and a couple of people have alluded to it, who challenges an E9? That's a damn good question. Most people won't.
Well, I
It's-
beg to differ.
Well, I think
It's got to be, what I thought was it's probably, the E4 Mafia in the admin section.
E9s piss off people.
well, and to be perfectly clear, there really isn't an E4 Mafia in the Marine Corps. There is such a thing as the Lance Corporal
Corporal
Underground.
Yeah,
Ah,
better known as E4
Yeah.
Mafia.
Well, because in the Marine Corps, E4s are NCO, so you
Yeah.
get sucked up in with the sergeants, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think, but you're onto something, because I think some pissed off Lance Corporal was
Yeah.
like, chewed me out. Guess
Oh.
what?
He jumped on my butt for walking on grass.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Well, because if he had any integrity,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Nobody would have dimed him out for
mhm.
whatever it was, right?
Well, he obviously didn't have integrity, or he wouldn't
Well,
have
I was just saying, how,
in the first place.
and what makes me wonder is, like, where else did this bleed over?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
somebody got screwed.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Multiple
and the other
times.
thing is, the kicker for me is the fact he was a motor T guy, motor transport.
Mhm.
He was the truck driver,
completely honorable occupation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I called a buddy of mine who's a retired Marine Corps major, former Mustang, who was motor T, and he had never heard of the guy, and basically, he went more ballistic than you did.
well, and here's the thing about being a motor T guy. That means you can serve anywhere in the Marine
Yeah.
Corps. So how did you not deploy?
Well, and the plain simple fact of the matter was, truck drivers were in great demand during that whole
Yeah.
dust
Yeah,
up.
yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I mean-
Phil got drafted by Mattis personally
Mhm.
to run Motor T for the 1st Marine Division.
Iraq needed more truck drivers
Yeah.
pretty much than it did trigger
Mhm.
pullers.
Well, and keep in mind, by the time he would have been, probably a sergeant by
Yeah.
then. By the time the war kicked off, maybe a staff sergeant. I was a staff sergeant
Yeah.
when 9/11 happened, and he's only 4 years behind me, so he could have been a staff sergeant, but
E5.
probably an E5.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, Brian, it raises some questions as to how it happened at all. Yeah.
Well, that's my thing about him getting promoted. Like,
Yeah.
maybe you get to first sergeant. Like, I hadn't been to Iraq yet when I got promoted to first sergeant, but I did the right thing in the eyes of the Marine Corps. Is I immediately called my monitor and said, "Hey, I'm on the selection. Who's deploying next, and when can I get there?"
Yeah.
And he basically said, "Hey, this isn't. I haven't released this spot yet, but 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines is deploying in 6 months. Do
Yeah.
you want to go there?" I was like, "Heck yeah, give me orders."
Yeah.
So
Well, that's the difference between you and people like Waltz.
Well, this schmuck.
Roger goes, I was a 2nd lieutenant chaplain candidate when 9/11 happened.
boot.
But
Oh, and I was telling Jim too when we were talking
Yeah.
about it. The first 20 years of my career, I spent more time overseas than
Yeah.
I was in CONUS.
Yeah.
I didn't get to hang out in CONUS until my last 6 years.
Yeah.
Right.
it's Marines.
Well, again, that's what's bothering me, because Marines generally want to go do Marine stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why it's the first thing we look at is your deployment ribbon.
Yeah.
Now, how many Navy achievement medals you got for selling rock candy at the Marine Corps fundraiser? I don't know.
Or running Toys for Tots.
Yeah. Oh, don't even. Goddamn.
I know how to
That's
spin
pissing
him
me
up.
off more than the goddamn fake ass Purple Heart. Fucking Toys for Tots.
Got some,
Oh,
Yeah, I did a little I do.
that's a PTSD from Tots.
Yeah, I'm more pissed off. I'm not cussing out no insurgents I was shooting at. At least they had the balls to get out there and fight. God help us. Freaking Toys for Tots. Jeez, thanks, Ian. Thanks.
Jay Kenton says,
Hold
I
on.
didn't get my boss hollered at medal. Yeah. And Mike has to go in the back and take a breather.
Someone had to bring out Toys for Tots, sir.
Actually,
Boy, I finished off most of it on the way here. Hold on.
actually, Mike, we've ended up taking over Toys for Tots here.
Well, and I appreciate that, because it's supposed to be a reservist.
Yeah, and there's no
Thing.
Marine Reserves here.
Right. And even like what you have at the reservist units is
Yeah.
there's a group of active duty Marines,
Yeah.
the inspector instructor staff, and you got your reservists. Well, the problem is they're only there 1 week in a month.
Yeah.
Even though Toys for Tots is a reserve program, guess who ends up doing all the stinking work?
Yeah, the INIs.
The INI.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Every year you hear, look, we know that your guys, it's a reserve program, but you will not fail.
Yeah.
So Marines don't fail. So what do? They go bananas, and it's raining toys.
Yeah.
I'd rather get shot at.
Now the other one you just brought up something that fucking tripped me off. It's a goddamn mandatory donations
Oh, mother hooker.
for the
God dang Navy relief.
CFC,
Yeah,
Combined Federal
right.
Fucking Campaign.
And this is what they tell everybody, right? God dang it, you will have 100% contact.
Yeah.
Now, if you give them $10 and you tell them you reached out to everyone, they go, bullshit. I said 100%.
Yeah.
And that's when you end up with some schmuck like us out there in front of your troops going, all right, boys, just everyone put a goddamn dollar in the freaking hat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Fill out the damn paperwork so they'll shut the hell up.
Oh, then more than once I've took out of my paycheck money to make
Mhm.
sure we had
Yeah.
every swinging dick in there. Pardon my French, ladies.
No, I just hated that. And then when it gets to hire that people are being what? We never meant for you to do that.
Oh my dying ass.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I hated about the CFC. You had a captive audience and you stared at them
Yeah.
until they filled out the dang thing. That
I'm so glad. See Coons. I'm so glad he's hiding his feelings on this issue.
I mean, having to deal with that both as an LPO, first class, and as a lieutenant.
well,
Uh,
and here we are. We're supposed to be talking about we're the epitomes of Naval and Marine Corps traditions, you know, honor, courage, and commitment. Here, give a bunch of money against your will.
Yeah.
And this douchebag with his purple heart
Yeah.
is the goddamn base sergeant major at Marine Corps Quantico Air Station somehow.
Somebody else that lit off on CFC was Arlie Ermy.
Mm.
Oh man.
Well,
Now he supported Navy relief, and that was what we always told the guys: if you're going to donate, specify either Navy relief or, in those days, the Boy Scouts.
mhm.
Don't give to any of the rest of them.
Yeah.
Especially not United Way.
Well, and then you'd get your unit might get a plaque for how many donations it
Yeah.
got, and I was like, why couldn't we give this money to to somebody?
The black money.
The paperwork cost more money than the damn donation we gave.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But, and I will also tell you from the CO side, if the CO did not get 100% participation,
Yeah, he got his ass chewed.
he got his ass chewed and actually got marked down on his officer FedRAP for it.
Well, we had. I dislike the United Way at a level I don't think I can properly get across. I do not like the United Way. I don't.
Yeah.
Those no. So the county, Ichipal County,
Oh yes.
had this thing where you could have recurring donation to the United Way out of your paycheck.
Yeah.
And it was when they came over, it's like, so you sign right here. And I said, no, you don't want to donate to the United Way? No, I don't. Well, what about the blind kids? I don't care.
Yeah.
Boy, that'll put the hackles up on the head shed. I mean, you don't care. I don't care. Moving on.
Well, the one in the private office there, and I'm not going to name her on here. When she tried to hit us up, Davey and I both dropped $1 a piece on her desk, turned around and walked out.
No, I don't do United Way.
Yeah.
If I want to donate, I have a list of folks I will donate to, or I'll take care of it myself.
Well, it takes away, my desire to be generous.
Yeah.
Shrivels
Oh
to
yeah.
almost nothing.
And why
Well-
the hell do you pick something? Why the hell do you pick a charity for your not mandatory donations that pays its CEO almost $1 million a year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where's that?
Oh yeah. Oh, let's go down that road.
Well, that's when they started putting, I think in the CFC catalogs now, if you look at, it talks about
Yeah.
how much money your percentage actually goes to the thing that it's supposed to.
Right.
And that's an interesting number.
Yes, it is. You also look it up online. I forget
Yeah.
what the
Yeah.
site
You
is.
can look up most charities
Yeah.
pretty easily, and it's like I always tell people, if you're going to donate stuff, don't for goodness sakes give it to Goodwill, because they're not a charity.
Yeah.
No, they're not. It's a business.
Yeah.
With cleverly named business.
It's
Yeah.
a cleverly named business with abusive hiring practices.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because they are only required to pay the disabled people a
Charity
tiny
Navigator.
percentage of minimum wage.
Cedar
So-
Charity Navigator.
Yeah, charity.
Yeah,
Navigator.
Charity Navigator. Yeah.
And I vet the charities I donate to.
Yeah.
I was donating to Wounded Warriors till they got stupid. And I switched over to Soldiers Angels.
If you would like to support an organization that needs your help, go online to Raconteur Press Substack, where you too can donate now.
That way they can afford 2 cheese sandwiches instead of 1.
You know who the money's going to.
I'll be able to pay salaries.
Donate $50 now and I'll wear a Purple Heart.
No, you won't. No.
So we got to get some sequined purple fabric, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Oh, she's got that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Wounded Warriors is another one.
Oh,
We
Ooh,
We
that
used
that
to-
went bad, didn't it?
Yes,
Wasn't there
it
a
did.
big controversy there?
we used to hold shoots,
Hmm.
gun shoots for Wounded Warriors,
Yeah.
and our little group up Northern Virginia, we raised over $10,000 over a couple of years for Wounded Warriors.
Shut up, Jesse.
Yeah. What?
You see what he says? Rack Press Substack supporting unemployed vets of all branches.
ouch.
Oh.
Not wrong.
Well,
For pennies a day, you can keep intern Steve from getting scurvy.
Scurvy builds character.
No fresh fruit here.
Scurvy builds character.
The anyway, Wounded Warriors. We supported them for, and those brought tears to your eyes. Because I mean, we had folks coming down from Walter Reed in buses that were still bleeding, and they just wanted to get back on the line and shoot.
God dang. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
And it-
used to go ahead. finish.
Wounded Warrior said, "Oh, well, if it's a gun related thing, we don't want your donation."
Yeah, I remember that
Yep,
now.
Yep. Yep.
And we all went, "What?"
Huh?
You know, we perked up. What do you mean you don't want the donation? Well, yeah, you know, we're trying to get away from the gun culture.
Right.
It's like, really? Do you not fucking understand who the people are you're supporting?
Well, right after that happened, because I was still blogging heavily at the time.
Yeah.
So, and I was fairly well known. I started looking, and this came up, and it's like I've been donating a lot of time and
Yeah.
money to Wounded Warrior.
Oh yeah,
I believed in it. And I looked it up, and I started researching. It's like you pay your CEO how the fuck much?
Yeah.
And I moved everything to Soldiers Angels.
yeah. Soldiers Angels. There are local groups like Greg was talking about.
I don't know.
Wish for Our Heroes.
I don't know how big they are, but those are the Arsenal of Hope people. The
Arsenal of
Satterleys.
Hope.
If you want one that I trust, one of my old commanding officers does this organization called Fallen Not Forgotten. His name's Jason Hansen.
Yeah.
And what he does, his thing is Fallen Not Forgotten is about supporting the children of the
Yeah.
fallen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it gets them, like they'll buy them computers or iPads and things for them to go to school with.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
look up Fallen Not Forgotten if you
Yeah.
want one. That I
Well,
trust that guy implicitly.
Yeah.
Or if nothing else, go to Till Valhalla and buy a shirt.
Yeah. So
Or go to Rack and Tour Press on Substack.
Livers for Vets.
So Arsenal of Hope is Jen and Tom Satterley, and they're supporting
Yeah.
vets with PTSD
Yeah.
and mental health issues because that's
That is significant.
Well,
And you know,
the joke is it's not really a joke. You have to have mental health issues to sign up.
That's to start with.
All I have to do is look around this room.
Hey now.
Hey,
and I'm sitting here thinking, my son called me yesterday and told me he had good news. And I got really excited because I was like
Yeah.
thinking maybe his clearance had gone through. No, he's now allowed to have an air fryer or an instant pot in his barracks room. He's super excited.
well, you know what? He's
And
a
this
E2,
is-
E3.
E3.
Yeah,
And
that
this
is great news.
What our military has come to.
Come on, don't tell me you didn't. I remember being able to cook goddamn ramen noodles for a meal instead of eating an MRE, and I thought it was a great damn day in the field.
yeah, but
We had toaster ovens.
we
In the
didn't have
barracks.
toaster ovens.
He's not allowed to have a toaster oven.
Well, they were just
This was
building-
the open bay barracks.
I was gonna say-
You're the reason why we can't have that crap now.
Well, it's just been invented then, so-
He can't have anything that would potentially make smoke or steam because it'll set off the sprinklers.
Oh, for frack.
I've seen him.
No,
working-
and here's the problem, Jim. It's because someone damn did it already.
Of course.
I've seen him working air fryer. Smoke is a possibility.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yes. No, he also got he got told that he was in trouble and summoned to whatever disciplinary area. Because someone had reported him for having a room party.
Yeah.
He's like,
Snitches
I
get
got-
stitches.
he's like, I got Chinese and I was sitting there watching a movie. I'm like, dude, I know you.
Ed Differs goes, that's why you go Air Force. Ah, how I miss the catering.
Who that?
Differs, read between the lines.
But I'm
You
laughing
can't
at the
have
mental
parties in
health
the
issues
barracks?
compares to Evidently there have been repeated busts of very loud, large room parties.
The Navy
Yeah,
sucks.
And well, so what I'm hearing is Friday night.
I don't know.
We
All
used
I
to-
know is what I get through my kid calling and telling me
Did the
weird
strippers,
random stuff.
did the strippers, the midgets, or the midget strippers file a complaint? No,
Yeah.
drive on.
The question is, did they get them out of the barracks in time?
You
That's
know,
always the question.
in my day, you know what we did?
In my day.
Well, I started out, we still lived in squad base, which was a great, you want to build unit cohesion, make all them fools live in the same room together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it has its own drawbacks as well.
Try 160 man squad base.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
But then they moved us over. Well, now all these barracks are torn down now, but we moved into where we had rooms. So you had two
Yeah.
or three Marines a room, and we had the great idea to do what we called an around the world party. Every room was a different country.
Yeah.
And we dressed up as that country and served drinks from that country. By the time you're around the world, the MPs are probably showing up too.
Oh my.
By the time you got to Scotland,
Yeah. Well, there were two guys that did Scotland for their room, and they were, what were they serving? This Scottish beer, and of course, shots of,
Scotch.
We have
and they, for their costumes, they tied plaid shirts around their waists.
That's awesome.
I remember
we should
what.
do an around the world party with all the other publishers at various times.
Oh Lord.
No, look, if you can't get rid of the liquor you have now,
Yeah.
be careful what you're asking for
No,
here.
Just give it to everybody and take them home. Take it to Hillbilly. So, walk in the door. Here's like
Here, take this to Hillbilly's room.
You are now an importer.
Then his next video is going to be, you want to be a professional?
And Differs
Oh.
chimes in with the Air Force. My nice single occupancy room with a private bathroom and kitchen. Yes, the Air Force got away with that
Because
shit.
nobody loved you.
Well, not only Air Force, but female in Air Force.
No, males in Air Force too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've never noticed one.
We did.
Hey, yo!
Oh,
Now look here. My grandfather and my dad were Air Force.
It's,
I am living proof that Air Force can do one thing right.
I am not going there. I am not.
Wow.
We did.
Woo, I love you too much, so I'm just gonna pack that one away.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them Air Force folks that were at Guadalcanal, boy.
Yeah.
They did that right, too.
We did what's called a fleet X down in
Well,
Puerto
now
Rico
It's the Air Force.
Exactly.
in 1984. And this was a huge fleet exercise.
I was 14 years old.
Shut up. So
When was this?
1984.
the Air Force
I had a high school for 3 years.
decided, no, hush, too. I'm not even going to ask her.
Yeah, I keep walking.
So the Air Force decides to send some combat controllers down to play. So they show up at Roosevelt Roads, our base. And it's two E3s and an E4. And of course, at this point, billeting is full. So they bring them over to the BOQ.
Bachelor officer quarters for those of you who don't
Yeah,
speak
Bachelor Officer Corps.
Baffelgam.
And these junior enlisted Air Force pukes refuse Bachelor Officer
I was
quarters.
just going to say that's they're not used to living that shitty.
So they literally went out in town to the Hyatt Hotel. All three of them had rental
And it was
cars.
approved by.
And it was approved.
Yeah.
I will say that Air Force junior enlisted are how I found out, and a cavalry party, how I found out that bed sheets do not make a decent parachute.
Mm. You weren't using the right 550 cord.
Probably not.
I will admit, when I was in K-Bay every weekend, we would drive from Kaneohe over to Hickam to eat at their chow hall in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
We're like, you guys do eggs made to order?
Yeah.
This is heaven.
We get eggs made to order as long as you order scrambled.
Julie chimed in and says, my Air Force Tech School in Biloxi had bed burdens. So there.
Oh, wow, they're ferocious.
Oh, I can remember I was not very old when Dad was at Biloxi, but Mom has stories.
So, okay, are you ready? Air Force NCO. American Embassy, Madrid, Spain. Sergeant Burke was on duty. Black gear. At the time, we had 357s, PR-24 baton, pepper spray, and I'm walking around, strutting around the embassy. It's a big embassy, so there was a mailroom there that was run by a bunch of Air Force guys. And the Marine Corps Ball was coming up. Now, on embassy duty, the Marine Corps Ball is the biggest, for the State Department, even is the biggest event.
Yeah.
So I go up to this guy, and we're buddies, so we all hung out, right? Military guys, going out drinking together, whatever. And so I'm like, hey, man, you get your uniform ready for the ball? And he's like, nah, dude, I'm probably just going to wear, a tuxedo or a suit or something like that. And I said, and I grabbed him right there in the hall in front of everyone, and I pinned him up against the bulkhead. And I started putting my forearm across his throat, and I was like, you're going to wear your fucking uniform, and you're going to be goddamn proud about it and represent your service. Do you understand me? Bang! All them hookers had uniforms on at the ball.
You know what always got me, especially at air shows?
Midget, what, yeah?
Yeah. Now, it was the Air Force flight suits were always starched. They always had their little dickies on, and they always had the polished flight boots.
Air Force has always been a bunch of little dickies.
Yeah. We show up with an airplane that's speckled from all the corrosion paint, ratty-ass flight suits that haven't been washed in a month.
Because you guys worked.
Yeah. Our good deal was to go to Kirtland a week after we got out of deployment. Hell, we hadn't even cleaned the airplanes.
Let's see if we pissed off anybody yet.
This is after 6 months of deployment in the Far East and flying down low. So there's chips of paint missing. All the prop hubs are screwed up. There's chips missing off the intakes. They were just ugly airplane. And of course, they park us next to a B-1 that I think they spit polished.
They just took it out of the box right there.
Yeah. And these two, our Air Force guys are standing there, two captains, we fly the boat. That's nice. And they've got their fancy posters and everything else. We've got whoever was not the most hungover standing in front of the airplane giving.
He's not weaving as much as the rest of them.
This is a P3. This is NS submarine warfare. We chase submarines and other things around the world.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. And we were given tours of the airplane, which is the worst thing you can possibly do at an air show. Because you would not believe what people, not just kids, but people will get into.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would.
We had a main load center, which has all the major generator components, switches, and everything else in it. Labeled, do not enter, period.
Oh, yeah. Must be something good in there.
We found 2 Coke cans sitting on top of goddamn inverters in there when we went to clean up the leak.
You remember Sir Terry Pratchett's quote about you could put a button on a wall with a great huge sign saying "Into the world, but do not push."
And some bitch should push it
before the paint dries.
Yeah.
Well, recently I saw some kind of, I think it was on Facebook. It was a meme or something about how right after World War II, all the naval ships are going to do these tours, and the USS Missouri, I guess, went to New York, and the locals just stripped it.
Yeah.
As they toured the ship, they just took everything that wasn't nailed down.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember the name of the next ship that pulled in.
Wisconsin.
And they put the bucket of nails out.
Yeah.
And they put out a bucket of nails and said these were captured from Japanese.
Yeah.
And the nails were gone in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They saved the rest of the ship.
Wisconsin had an attitude. Wisconsin, there was an incident during Vietnam, which was not the first time Wisconsin had done something like this, where some NVA decided to shoot at the Wisconsin, and it landed close. And Wisconsin replied with a full broadside.
Oh, that was Korea.
Is this the temper? I think that
Yeah.
was Korea.
That was Korea.
Well, they did it in Korea too, but they also did it in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And it was literally temper. We are the Wisconsin. We will not stand for that shit. And on that note, folks, we've wasted another hour of your time.
Oh, we have more stories though. Sure.
You'll be here Tuesday.
Oh, I might become.
Oh, you're right, Sean. Only Iowa was still in service during Vietnam. Iowa and New Jersey.
That's because they stole it all.
Yeah.
Right. It's in somebody's backyard.
Yeah, New Jersey's average crew age was 47 during Vietnam.
Wow.
Average Navy ship crew age is 27
Wow.
because they had so many retirees that came back on active duty
Mm.
to crew the New Jersey because they were the only ones who knew how to run it.
Wow.
The story was going around on the master gunner's mate on board was 67 years old. He'd been retired twice, but because he worked at Dogger in Virginia, he was the only person in the world still certified to shoot 16-inch guns. Well, we got a kid in the squadron that was a JO2 journalist who had come from New Jersey. And he said he was going around doing stories for the paper on the ship. Talked to his Master Chief. The Master Chief took him down to the bunk that he had been in World War II.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
wow.
And he
Said
said,
there-
"Fix your bunk, damn it."
He said, "That's my initials right there."
Uh-huh.
And sure enough, his initials were still scratched and painted above the bunk.
Wow.
Yeah, time to go give out candy. Folks, thank you for sticking with us. It is Halloween. Be safe. Enjoy the time with the kids if you get any. And if you don't, you got a lot of candy to eat. And sorry for the rants, the continuing
I
rant.
never thought I'd have a rant on this.
Remember, folks, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sweaty stuff.
Be safe, guys.
And hopefully by when we see you next Tuesday, everybody will have voted. Don't care who you vote for, go vote.
Bring your Molotov cocktail.
No.
Not the vote.